Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to this week's segment. A little different for you coming at you this time. It's not a whole lot of me, which should probably please you. But this week's topic is about that house. What do I mean when I say that house? Well, in my ebook, Yard Coach Presents Landscaping Simplified, which is coming out pretty soon, I shared a story about myself and my first house. Yeah, I bought that house, which was my first house. It was the one on the block that everybody hated, the one that drug the whole neighborhood down, and the one right next to, yep, you guessed it, it was the nicest house on the block. When I moved in, I was not too subtly greeted by several of the neighbors and welcomed with a quick follow up, kind of like, so, got any ideas of what you're going to do with the house now? Yeah, I kind of got the hint. I knew when I bought it that it was, had a lot of deferred maintenance, but it wasn't too subtly presented to me by my new neighbors. But at the time, I was a little strapped for cash at the ripe old age of 24. I just spent more money than I ever have spent in my life on a down payment. I had my first baby on the way, and I was trying to solidify a new career all in the same year. Yeah, just a little pressure, just a little. Well, as time marched forward, I was able to start with simple things, things that didn't cost a lot, like just cleaning up, cleaning the windows to start with, and then cleaning the yard and raking and getting things back. Man, I found more things underneath shrubbery and stuff that other owners had left. It was quite a mystery as I walked down that landscape journey. After the cleanup, I was able to start doing some major league trimming and pruning, and even then removal of some of the unwanted elements. All of this in this house was all green elements that I took out. I didn't take any hardscape out at all. But you always got that neighbor, and my next door neighbor Tom was that neighbor. He was constantly but politely badgering me to do more and go faster. And he even offered tools and his own time to help, which I knew he would never help with his own time, but it was nice of him to say. Well, guys, it took me about 18 months until the house and the landscape were on par with the rest of the neighborhood. I started to get compliments from the same neighbors. Uh, Family were saying good things. Some of the friends we had over were complimenting it. And I'll tell you what, it felt so good. It felt so good and so rewarding. But more importantly, it was great to kind of be done with the major league stuff. And I didn't have anything fancy. I couldn't afford anything fancy at the time. So, where am I going with all this? Well, I learned a real valuable lesson early on in home ownership. That hard work and a little regular attention after the hard work to your landscape at home pays dividends for you, your reputation as a neighbor, the appearance and values within your neighborhood, and most important, at least for me anyway, was the pride and feeling of accomplishment and self-reliance that I attained by doing it myself, which I think is so, so important in this day and age. Over the past 2.5 decades, I've seen countless neighborhoods that have that house or houses on the block and throughout the neighborhood. Yet looking at the house and landscape, they always just screamed, just deferred maintenance. Take a look at these as I continue our story. Now, I know there are those folks out there that cannot do maintenance required. Maybe they don't have the money for improvements due to financial hardships. Maybe they have health issues or other maladies that restrict them from doing anything. This I understand, but are there family members that could be brought in to help? Maybe church friends or something that could help out? Or like I've found most recently before I sold Weed Patch Ranch was just finding a good, reliable neighborhood kid that wanted to make a buck. I think there is always a solution. You just have to have the foresight and forethought to do it. Pure neglect or lack of skills or desire to keep up your responsibility will only drag your house value down and those around you as well. If you see these pictures of actual homes in a nearby neighborhood where I'm at, you can plainly see the owners that care and then those with a, shall we say, lesser opinion of what they define as kept up. I really do, I encourage those of you who maybe have that house in the neighborhood to, formulate a plan a little bit. Follow the channel here, maybe check out the ebook or the course that's coming out in the near future that I'm going to provide for folks. Um, I'll tell you what, the first time you get a compliment from a family, friend, or neighbor, it will go miles, literally miles, to encourage you to make things right and continue the momentum to, keep the shrubs trimmed, the lawn green and mowed, mulch those beds and water where everything is needed, fix the things that are broken, and keep the place up. Gardening is not everybody's strong suit. I get that. I really do. I get it. But if you've taken the hard-earned dollars to buy the home in the first place, make payments on it every month, pay taxes on it, insure it, seems to me you should at least maintain it, and kind of allow the curb appeal and the appreciation of equity and to help you out in the long run. Yeah, anyway, it's my opinion. The house and landscape don't need to be over the top extravagant with, all the bells and whistles some folks put into things. Just a simple, neat, manicured lawn, tree, shrubs is really all that's needed. You don't have to be a master gardener to have a nice looking home. I suggest, in what has worked for me, is just doing a little bit on a frequent basis. Then, you don't have big things that need to be done all at once. That's really worked out for me really well over the last 35 years or so of home ownership. If you have the financial resources, yeah, you can hire the help needed to accomplish these tasks. But I have found folks that just write a check or hand over cash. Yeah, the job's done, but inside you just don't value someone else's work. Yeah, you value it because you paid for it, but in the long run, when something else breaks, you're just going to call the same person. I have found by doing the work yourself, by God, you value it and keep it nice because it was your sweat, your cash, and sometimes even your blood that created and maintains this. The pictures that I've shared with you here, those that house pictures, I call them, and then some of the ones that are kept up pretty darn nice. Just what's your first impressions of the places that maybe need a little help and then those that seem to be kept up? What's the very first impressions that it leaves you with when you see them? Guys, I'm going to catch you next week. This is just all about that house on the block. Your yard coach here was one of those guys, and I overcame that, and you can too. Hey, drop a comment or a picture and let me know what your yard looks like and what you're doing to improve it, if anything. And share a story if you want. I will catch you next week. I really appreciate it. Hey, this is Matt. You can call me Coach. Catch you next week. Take care.